This is my cat Shiro in a perfect equilibrium with himself and his surrounding. This whole theory is about equilibrium and equilibrium of the force. Newton was a real scientist and physicist who could look at nature, observe it and create laws which were describing nature. And a famous example is his second law of motion. The problem that we are facing now is how do we integrate Newton's second law of motion into electrodynamics from Maxwell. How do you integrate and unify classical mechanics with electrodynamics? That is a huge problem in science. Einstein, together with Hermann Minkowski, his teacher, and Hendrik Lorentz, who did all the calculations for the transformations of the electromagnetic field, they three together developed the theory of special relativity, and it has been published in 1905. And according to this theory of special relativity, mass will increase till infinite at the speed of light. And because light doesn't have an infinite mass, the only possibility is that the rest mass of light equals 0. And that means that it will be impossible for math and physics together to integrate classical mechanics with electrodynamics, because Newton's second law is related to mass, inertia, and if the mass is infinite, you cannot do any transformations from classical mechanics to electrodynamics. And the only hope we have came from a scientist, and he was in fact not understood. It was John Archibald Wheeler who came up with the idea that light could confine itself and in this way became invisible. Light became invisible in confinements. Invisible confinements for us, but it was all the energy of the light in this confinement, which has mass. It could be measured by a gravitational field, but we couldn't see it. And these creations of light was an idea of John Archibald Wheeler. John Archibald Wheeler was working his whole life to find solutions for his concept of geons, gravitational electromagnetic entities. John Archibald Wheeler was not understood. Wheeler was living in a world where he could see things and nobody else could see it. Wheeler was living in a kind of upside down, and he had no way to make clear to people around him what he was seeing and what was his vision. He was speaking about invisible light. He was speaking about light that confines itself and can just be in our world and we don't notice it, but it still has mass. It still creates gravity. So it could be measured by gravity, but for the rest it would be completely invisible.
For my ally is the Force, and a powerful ally it is. Life creates it, makes it grow. Its energy surrounds us and binds us. Luminous beings are we, not this crude matter. You must feel the force around you, here, between you, me, the tree, the rock, everywhere. Yes, even between the land and the ship.